ශ්‍රී ලංකාව ඍජු විදේශ ආයෝජන ආකර්ෂණය කරගන්නේ කෙසේද? 2022 ශ්‍රී ලංකා ආර්ථික සමුළුවේදී මේ පිළිබඳව පුළුල් ලෙස සාකච්ඡා කෙරුණා.
It's going to be a tough call for us to promote investments in that context. But we are also conscious of the prevailing economic crisis that the country is facing. And we note that it's important that we design some competitive package with minimal impact to the government revenue. So, although as I said, our fiscal, the other concessions our peers offer, we are looking at measures of how we can better facilitate and make the investment journey for an investor in Sri Lanka to be seamless. So that is the main focus right now. And so as a first step, what we have done internally at the BOI is to go digital as much as possible. So even your import-export customs declarations now can be done online, where you don't have to come to the BOI, because that is critical for in terms of time factor, that maybe even a clerk or anyone doesn't have to come in with their documentation. It can be done online and they can go directly and collect their goods, their raw materials which are needed for their export operations. Similarly, even for visas, because not all of our companies are situated in the western province, so we do have them all over the country. So another measure we've taken is, because there are a lot of expats and workers that are needed from overseas and they need to get their visas processed, the visa application process has also been made online. So it's only a matter of them submitting online, and we recommend to the defense, and once defense clears it, it goes directly to immigration, and it's only for chopping of their passports that they need to come to immigration. So again, we have been able to service the investors so that they don't have to waste time on administrative issues.
For us to do that, we need to promote FDIs, foreign direct investment. And if you really look at the budget, the ambitious revenue targets, tax revenue targets in the budget, it demonstrates that it is assuming the economy will grow, because otherwise the increase in the rate itself is assuming that at a minimum we will remain, the output of Sri Lanka will remain static. Therefore the rate increase will set off even if there was any contraction in the economy. Now, the largest question, biggest question we have now is, how do we attract FDIs? History suggests that 40 years we haven't really done a great job at it. What are we going to do any different now to attract that FDI? More so, our proposition now is more dampened because of the foreign currency issue that we are facing. So some of the easy wins, obviously I will deep down to some port city specifics later, Dominda. Some of the easy wins, I think, from a country perspective is to ask the question, how do we build investor confidence? What we must do, I feel, three things. One is that we need all investment agreements, including probably BOI agreements, should have a provision, a clause for investor protection. That should very specifically say that once you sign the agreements, whatever the terms of the agreements will not change. That includes any fiscal incentives as well. Second is that some of these agreements, I would imagine at least large agreements, should have what is called a stabilization clause. Now, most of the international investment agreements have this stabilization clause, and first time I have seen that in Sri Lanka in a statute was the Petroleum Resources Act of 2021, which was just passed last year, where they have a fiscal stabilization clause to preserve the project economics during the life of the project between the contractor and the government.
And ease of doing business reforms, I will not take it in isolation. The President, the directions given to us was without taking much time to immediately resume the FTA negotiations with India, China, and Thailand, and to immediately reactivate the Singapore Agreement. So with a greater trade enhancement scheme. So the other direction was, of course, this ease of doing business, formal ease of doing business initiatives, reforms. We had assisted by the World Bank, we had a very concrete roadmap on improving investment climate in 2018. There were all 35 odd agencies supporting businesses, supporting investors were there.